Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Haven Outdoors. Today we're going to be looking at the RE Delano Peak. RE says the Delano Peak is the travel for most travels. This is a trail bike from RE. It has 142 millimeters of rear travel, 150 millimeters in the front. On this XL frame that I'm riding, a chainstay length, which is 434 millimeters. Head angle on this is 65 degrees. Effective seat angle is 77.5 degrees. Wheelbase, we're looking at 1260 millimeters. And then reach on this bike is it's fairly conservative, 500 millimeters on the reach on this XL frame. Ari always does a good job, I've noticed, especially recently on their builds. As far as how they spec their bikes, they do a really good job. This one, they're putting the SRAM Maven Silvers with 180 mil front and rear rotors, and that 180 mil rotors with the Mavens is a pretty good match. Other specs on this build, this is the Pro build that I'm going to be riding on this Delano Peak, and they've got the RockShox Lyric Ultimate up front. On the rear, they've got the RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate with the RC2T hydraulic bottom mount. And then drivetrain, they're running the GX transmission from SRAM. Excited to get this out on the trail, and we'll see you out there. Just wrapped up a day yesterday in the desert down in St. George, rode Zen, and just headed out today for a quick ride out in Eagle Mountain. And unfortunately, we lost the GoPro, so no riding footage. I will give you an overview of this bike, kind of what it is and how it rode out there, and we'll take a look from there. So yeah, stay tuned, check it out. So let's talk about how this bike rode. This is a fun bike. Right away on this bike, I noticed how natural it felt. It just felt really comfortable right out of the gate, and it felt just really intuitive to just jump on and be able to start riding this bike. As far as climbing goes, the Delano climbed really well. Climbing position, it's a 77.5 degree seat angle, I believe is what that is. I have to go back and check the geometry to be sure on their geo charts, but yeah, overall bike climbed really well. Spent a day in the desert in St. George on the Zen trail, and there's a lot of chunk, a lot of square edge type stuff there, and I don't feel like it really ever got hung up on that stuff as far as climbing. On descending, we'll hit that a little bit later, but I did feel like it hung up a little bit on the big square edge stuff on that rear end, while descending at higher speeds, but we'll get into more of that in a bit. As far as climbing, it handled switchbacks really well. It was able to go up and around switchbacks, tight switchbacks, steep stuff, mellow, just kind of flatter climbs. The bike just felt really comfortable overall climbing on this thing, and felt like it did a super good job. I think I would say the like a DW Link bike like an Ibis Ripmo or Ripley has a little more traction through more technical parts of climbing. I feel like it's a little bit more glued to the ground on that rear end with that DW Link, but overall this bike climbs really well, and plenty of traction and super efficient. And let's talk about descending on the Delano. This bike rips. It's super well balanced. I always felt like I was centered in the bike, kind of no matter where my body was, like whether I was forward on the bike or getting back a little bit. I always felt very centered on the bike, and it felt very stable. Super fun. As far as getting through tight corners, handled that very well. Jumps good. The bike has a pretty progressive feel as far as through that rear suspension. I think off the top, that first maybe 15% is really supple, And then it builds up as you get through the travel. Like mid-stroke, you've got a lot of support in the mid-stroke, which, you know, doesn't allow you to really move through the travel too quick. Holds you up during climbing, and also, you know, pumping on descents and things like that. It really holds you up well in the corners. And then that last, you know, bit of travel is quite progressive. So I never felt like any harsh bottom outs at all. It felt pretty deep through, you know, bigger hits, bigger drops, chunky stuff. The bike jumps really well, but it's very easy to get off the ground. It felt pretty easy to get up and over things. Also very easy to just move your hips back a little bit and lift the front end up as you're dropping off any, you know, flatter drops and stuff like that. But yeah, if I had to sum it up, I would just say the bike just feels very well balanced. It's fun, it's playful, and it just feels, like I said, it's very intuitive just jumping on this bike. There's no really figuring this thing out. There's no weird, you know, like I feel like I'm in the back seat, or like I feel like I need to shift my weight forward on this bike or anything like that. It just felt good all the time. So good bike. We'll have a full review. I'll throw up a written review, have a link in the description. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you out there. Happy trails.